Check this out.
And here we go.
There is a billionaire, Ray Dalio, quoted by the Financial Times. He's saying now that the chances of a civil war in this country are around 35 to 40%. Do you think the chances are that high?
I mean, I'm not in a place to give probabilities, or I don't gamble. I don't spend my time in Vegas, so I couldn't speak to that. But what I can say is the president has been really clear about the need to continue to fight for our democracy. That is one of the reasons he jumped into the election back in 2019. What he was seeing across the country, what we're seeing obviously in Charlottesville, and what he saw there, the vile, the hatred, and it was concerning to him. And so, but, you move forward, and from there to January 6th of 2021, that was a very scary time in our democracy. That was a stain on our democracy. What we saw happening at the Capitol, rioters of 2,000 rioters wanting to turn over a free and fair election. So obviously the president wants to continue to fight for that, continue to fight for our democracy, fight for our freedoms, and that's where we're going to continue to stand. I can't give probability. I don't even know who you're speaking of.
Okay. And then I have some on the big story today.
Okay.
What does President Biden think about the world's #1 golfer, Scottie Scheffler, being cuffed and then hauled in for a mugshot for what appears to be a misunderstanding at a traffic stop?
Go on, say something clever.
So I've seen the reports of Mr. Scheffler's arrest. I just want to say that our hearts go out to the individual that was killed.
Unrelated.
Well, no, let me finish. In the auto accident that preceded his arrest, obviously someone did die. Someone was killed, preceded his arrest, that obviously he was not involved in. So I want to make sure that we share our condolences to that family and their loved ones. Anything else as specifics to his arrest, that would be something for local authorities to speak to.
I think you guys have spent a good chunk of this week talking about how you don't want anybody to ever go to jail again for possessing marijuana. Do you think that somebody who was involved in what appears to be a misunderstanding at a traffic stop should be facing 10 years in prison? We've seen the reports. There's a process there. We have to let the legal authorities go to their process and how this all works. I can't comment from here, from the lectern, about something that's being looked into by local authorities. I got to be mindful about that. But let's not forget, someone lost their lives. Not obviously that preceded this, but there was an individual that was killed, and there's a family that's mourning a death of a loved one. And so we want to be sensitive to that as well.
Hypocrisy, my friend.
Okay, and then what was the president's reaction to Senator Romney saying that the president should have pardoned Donald Trump after the Justice Department brought those indictments against him, or that he should have pressured New York prosecutors not to pursue the ongoing hush money trial?
The current president of the United States getting involved in an ongoing legal case?
Current sitting senators saying that the president should have pardoned him.
I mean, we're just going to let the process move. We would never interject ourselves in a criminal legal proceedings. Is not something that we do from here.
What a load of crap!
Given the flag incident, does President Biden believe that Justice Alito can rule with impartiality for all the cases involving January 6th?
So look, and this is something that I have spoken to the president about, and basically what I laid out is how he feels is that the American flag is sacred, and we should be respecting that flag. I cannot speak to if he should recuse himself, how he should move forward in the court. That is for the court to decide.
Okay, on another topic, did President Biden...
You just seem so disappointed. It's like, oh, Karine, well, we're going to move on.
I understand that you can't, that you're not going to engage.
Sorry to disappoint you.
No, it's okay. So, did the president see the confrontations from the House Oversight Committee meeting yesterday?
So I have not talked to him about if you've seen it. What we can say, and I think this is something the president would agree upon, which is, you, as someone who was a senator for 36 years, he believes that people should respect each other, treat each other with dignity and civility. I'm not going to speak to what happened, obviously, in that hearing, but what we can say is someone who, a president, as I just stated, was a senator for some time, who who knows how that place works, I think you have to treat people with dignity. You have to treat people with respect.
You have failed this city.
Quickly following up on Mayor Benjamin's appearance yesterday,
Yes.
he said he traveled to Morehouse, he spoke to students there, he asked them what they wanted to hear from the president, and many of them said that they wanted to talk about the war in Gaza. And I'm just kind of trying to understand if the president plans to bring that up proactively during his speech, and what is his message going to be to those asking him to change his policy in the Middle East?
So, a couple things. When the mayor was here, he did say he had a private conversation with students and others and faculty there. He said he wanted to keep that private conversation in private, so he was very mindful in what he shared from here yesterday afternoon. Again, in asking me that question that is previewing the president's remarks, I am not going to preview his remarks. I will tell you more broadly at a 30,000-foot view that the president sees this as an important moment to give our future leaders some advice.
I've done some dumb things, and I'll do dumb things again.
A lot of the messages to Black Americans that Biden is doing over the next couple days are at them. You know, a speech at Morehouse, the speech at the museum, the speech in Detroit. I wonder if you can give any, sense of whether that information flows both ways. Is he asking questions? Is he are the Divine Nine, saying this is what we would like to see from your presidency going forward?
Yeah.
Listening as opposed to speaking.
I know you're saying at them. We don't see it at them. I think the president shows up in front of a crowd, in front of a community, and talks about how he's been working on their behalf, working to deliver for that community or for all Americans. I think that's important. I think people want to hear from the president. They want to hear what is it that he has to say, whether it's about the economy, healthcare, whatever issues that's important to them. And I think the fact that the president shows up at the African American Museum is important. The fact that the president, is here, is talking to the Divine Nine, I think it's also very important.
Give me a break. That's a bunch of malarkey.
And I think to the heart of your question, the president also loves to hear from people. He does. He loves to hear from what they have to say, what they have to offer. He's going to do that with the Divine Nine. He did that yesterday with the different plaintiffs of Brown v. Board. He does that very often, continuously. And I think it is important for him. The best advice, the best best feedback that he gets is from everyday people, Americans who are out there, who are living the lives that he's trying to improve.
Announcement of the U.S. tariffs on China earlier this week, we've heard from the international community, including IMF and WTO and others, that are expressing concerns about the impact of these tariffs on the global economy. And I understand we heard from NSC Director Brainerd yesterday about the case she's making for how underpriced exports have hurt the U.S. economy specifically. But does the administration have any case to be made for how this is going to help the global economy in addition to the U.S. economy?
So just a couple of things. Look, he took this action, the president did, obviously earlier this week when we made the announcement on Tuesday, to make sure there was a level playing field, because he knows that Americans can outcompete anyone just as long as that competition is fair, right? And that you heard us say that over and over again. You heard that from the Ambassador Tai, but China hasn't been playing by the rules.
Congratulations, you played yourself.
Their unfair policies undermine the global trade, not just us, Americans, American businesses and companies, but global trade more broadly. And so certainly we're not alone in voicing those concerns about China's unfair trade policies and taking action to address them. We're not the only ones who have said anything about that, spoken about it, or taken actions. A number of advanced and emerging economies have also expressed concerns. Their industries also face damage from China's overcapacity. And so the president is going to continue, as he does always, to work with our allies to join forces to outcompete China. And rather than undermining our alliances, threatening jobs and increasing costs for families by $1,500 with universal 10% tariffs. And so we are going to remain an open economy, the United States, And so, and we're going to do that with foreign investment in American manufacturing, almost double its average before the pandemic. Our actions, are focused on strategic sectors and not only on China. So we're going to continue to work with our allies, and so we're trying to make sure that competition is fair.
You see what I mean? Not very bright.